Today. My name is Sahar. I'm a makeup educator. I'm also a licensed esthetician and a certified makeup artist. I've been in the industry for about 10 years and I've done just about anything you can think of in the industry, from making ghosts to proms and whatnot. I'm also here on behalf of Face Makeup Academy to talk to you a little bit about continued education. I'm sure your instructors have talked to you already about this really can't be the only education that you're going to involve yourself in and commit to if you want to be successful in the industry. After here, you're going to find your specialty. You're either going to be a specialist in color or cut or highlight, or when you go into makeup, you're either going to be bridal, you're going to be special effects, or you can do it all. But continued education is super, super important. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the academy, and then I'm going to go into a demo and show you guys a little bit of my work. I'm going to be one of the educators there. I'm also the director there and in charge of recruitment, and that's why I'm here talking to you guys a little today about it. So the academy is located in Van Nuys, California, and it is in a soundstage. So are you guys familiar with what a soundstage is? So it's where they do films, photography, all kinds of things. So what it's going to be, the reason it's in a soundstage is so that you can build your portfolio. So once you start learning, we're going to invite photographers in, and you've got like 11 different rooms from jails to classrooms that you can use to start building your portfolio. So your portfolio, once you start presenting it, looks like you've worked all around rather than one specific area, because it's going to look so, it's going to have so much variety in it. Also, with the Face Makeup Academy, you're only 10 students at a time. So your educator is going to focus just on you and only you at a time. And it's all customized training for you. So the way you learn is the way they teach. If you learn through demos, then that's the way they're going to teach. If you learn through PowerPoints, then that's the way they're going to teach. So everything is super customized to how you learn. And we cover makeup from ancient Egypt to the type of makeup today, to possibly like futuristic and creative. And what we try to encourage for you guys is don't be an employee, be an artist, because the artist gets the check. The employee, yeah, you're going to get a check, you're going to go to work, but the artist has creative freedom. And every single one of you in here are artists, because what you do is you walk up to another human being and you aesthetically change them. You aesthetically change their hair, you aesthetically change their face. And that is basically the realm of art. You're going to be applying as a makeup artist. A lot of us, and even I thought this when I first went into makeup, I'm like, I'm going to do smoky eye, I'm going to do editorial, I'm going to do cut crease, I'm going to do Bollywood and glitter, and I have. In my career, I have done that. 90% of what I have done is the basic face. And at first, I was so... when I was in school, so bummed out that that's what they were going to teach us, because I was like, that's boring and I don't like it. And you have to remember that when somebody's coming to you for makeup, they don't know what they're doing. And that means that they don't wear makeup. So if you give them a smoky eye, they're probably not going to hire you again. It's a lot of makeup. And learning how to apply somebody else's makeup and separate that from the way you apply your makeup is what's going to make you super successful in the industry. I'm going to move your glasses. Okay. So the basic face, I mean, there's still makeup on her face, but I call it the soft smoke. The reason I call it the soft smoke is so the client thinks that they're getting a smoky eye, and you know that you're applying something that's going to make them happy, and at the end of the day, you're like, please, that is not a smoky eye. I will show you a smoky eye. Like, I take my palette and just rub it right onto my eye. And one thing you're going to notice once you get your kit together, if you haven't already, is you will never find a suitcase big enough for your stuff. Ever, ever. I don't know a makeup artist happy with her suitcase. You will always have more. I have a shelf at home with surplus. With the Face Makeup Academy, we're going to show you exactly what your real life job is going to look like. And every single time, 100% of the time, you have to set up an SMA. Thank you. The reason being, so this is the towel that I set up to protect the client's table. This is the towel that I set up to protect the client's face. If I use that towel over and over again without setting a paper towel over it, whatever was on my previous client's table is going to be on my current client's face. And I've taught this to my students before. If you give somebody an eye infection or a skin infection, You can be the best makeup artist in LA. You will be known as the person that gave an infection. And that's it. That's how people will see you. Okay. So first thing you want to do with the basic face is you want to prime the eyes. Some makeup artists, what they do is they do the whole face and the foundation before they do the eyes. There's nothing wrong with that. And I always say, if somebody contradicts what I'm teaching, that's completely okay. Listen to them, question it, find out why. Use it if it works for you. Don't use it if it doesn't work for you. There's no one right way to do this. I like to start with the eyes first because when I get residual makeup onto the cheeks, I just get frustrated cleaning it off. So I decide not to put it on the cheeks in the first place, or not to have the foundation there in the first place. Same thing. What I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of like a cream primer and a little bit of a paint. Are you guys familiar with paint? Mm-hmm. Paint is by MAC, and I encourage getting to know every brand out there. Don't just stick to one. And what it does, it dries. And so I'm taking my cream primer with my paint, and I'm creating something in the middle of that because I want it to kind of dry on her eyes because that's what's going to hold the makeup, but I also don't want it so dry that my makeup does not move on her skin. So quick question for you. Skin type. Dry, oily, combination?
Combination.
Okay, and any sensitivity?
No.
And do you ever have allergic reactions to makeup?
No, I don't.
Okay. I do that with every client because that's the best way to know if you're about to have a really bad day with your client. And that's happened where I'm like looking at her face and her forehead starts to turn red and she doesn't know it, but I know it, and I start freaking out and I'm not sure what to do about it. Best thing to do is ask them, are you allergic to anything? Now, at that point, if they say no and there's still an allergic reaction, at least you did your job as a professional and went through the questionnaire. And then all you can do is just apologize. Now we know that this is what you're allergic to. Let's see if we can troubleshoot it and go a different direction with you. So what I like to do is I like to do my 2-finger rule. Only 2 fingers on the head at a time. A lot of people I see when they're first starting, they hold the head like this and to hold it still. What happens is you forget the pressure that you're putting on your client's head and you start to damage the discs in their neck slowly. And within about 20 minutes, they're going to have a lot of pain and they're not going to tell you about the pain. Remember, these people don't do their makeup. You're a woman, you're coming to them, you're doing their makeup, and especially if you're a man and you're doing their makeup, it's super intimidating. You're walking in and you're saying, I'm about to make you look pretty as you don't know how to. So it is really intimidating for a client when you're walking in and you're gorgeous and you've got your makeup done and you've got your creative outfit together. So they're not going to say anything because they're thinking, well, I don't want to sound stupid by saying it hurts. I guess this is just the way it is. No, it should never hurt. Like, makeup application should never hurt. So what I do is I pull up the eyebrow. That way I can see her brow bone. Now, I have 1 finger here, 1 finger here, 1 finger here. So 2 on the head at all times, and then 1 to control the face. And don't get me wrong, I do it too. I accidentally will have my hand on there, and I just remind myself, like, take your hand off her head. The reason I pull this up is so I can see where the brow bone is, and I can highlight right underneath it. That works a little bit more with concealer also. Just saying. That's brilliant in our makeup. When I was younger, my mom would not let me leave the house without doing my makeup, no matter what. I was like, but I want to be an MMA fighter. And they don't wear makeup. They were like, okay, that's really cute. Go put on some lipstick.
Both.
And I'm going to take this copper shimmery color that's in here. Same concept. Hold the brow up. What I'm going to do with the shimmer, wherever I first put my brush is going to be the highest deposit of color, the highest deposit of product as well. So I'm not going to start right over here because I don't want a whole bunch of product right over there. I'm going to start right here. Once I've got my product on, then I can go about spreading it. Doing makeup is just like I always say, signing your name. When you first signed your name, it was juvenile, it was almost silly, it was like a kid was doing it. And then after a while, you went into this adult signature. Same thing. The motion of that wrist is just going to get better every time you do makeup. you want to be a makeup artist in the industry, do one person's face a day. No matter what, do one person's face a day. I guarantee you in 7 days, you're going to be, by a large margin, a much better makeup artist than you were 7 days ago, just because of that practice of the wrist. Now this basic face that I'm doing, there isn't, let me turn up a little bit. There isn't one way to do it. There's a bunch of ways to do it. I've taken my client, I've assessed her eyes, I've assessed her skin color. These are the colors I'm going about to do it. And as an artist, you have to make these decisions. So when you go into something and you're like, but I don't have this product, and this is the product I need, and this is the way I was taught. No. Break the rules. Learn them, and then break them. That's what separates you from being the artist and being the employee, from somebody, and not to talk bad about somebody that works in retail or works at a makeup counter, but in technicality, they are a retail salesperson. How they separate themselves from being that retail person and being an artist is how they go about doing their art. And I always do these really fast motions. I don't know if you guys have done facials in here yet, but if you've learned, the small, tight strokes are annoying to clients. It's the longer, faster strokes. Same thing with makeup. You go in there and you're like afraid you're going to annoy the person. You're going to aggravate the person. They're never going to want you to work on them again. You go in there and just be assertive. However, use that light pressure. That's when you get hired as a professional makeup artist again. Okay, so I'm going to go with my same brush again, and I'm going to go into this taupe color. Normally I would do the taupe color first, but like I said, I've assessed her eyes, and I want to go in second. So as I said, I'm going to build this really soft smoke on her. The reason I went in with the shimmer first, because that particular color didn't have a whole lot of shimmer, and I wanted to create dimension. And that's one thing we teach also at the academy, is how to create a dimension with your makeup. Same thing with hair. You know, when you go in to do highlights or when you go in to do colors, you don't want it to just be flat, unless that's what the client wants. She wants a flat color. But you want to create this movement in the hair almost. Same thing with makeup. You want to create something that goes back and something that comes forward. And that's what a dimension is. Something that's pushed back and something that's brought forward. Also, what's really important is how you speak to your client. The client doesn't know that you need their face in a certain way, or you need them to do a certain thing. So the whole time you're speaking to them, it's so important to keep the same exact tone of voice every time you ask for something. So let's just say, for example, I did the Oscars a few weeks ago, and I had one client, and every time I wanted to do her gel eyeliner, which if any of you have done this on someone else, you already know your hand is shaky. You already know this is difficult. She wanted to do it with her eyes open because she wanted to watch the red carpet. So I was like, would you close your eyes, please? Just like that. And she would close them, and then one would flutter because she thought if she opened one, the other one would stay still. They're connected. Everything is connected inside of you. So again, I was like, would you close your eyes, please? And I just, that same, and it almost sounds like silly for me to use that tone of voice, but when you're dealing with like these high profile clients, that's just part of your job. And it got to the point where I had to talk to her like a kid. I was like, close your eyes, fantastic, awesome, you're doing great, you're doing beautiful. And it started to work. She was just like kind of following along. So it's really important to have that etiquette and that mannerism with your client. So, and I was really sure not to make it sound condescending. I was like, okay, great, fantastic. Okay, we're just going to do the other one. It's just going to take a couple of seconds. I felt like I was giving a shot to a 5-year-old. Like, and look the other way, and there you go, here's a lollipop. That's really how I was like talking to her. She was 52, by the way. So I use normally gel eyeliner. It's so much easier for me to control. By the way, guys, I break the rules. This brush is from an art and supply store. I got it for 99 cents. I was like, yep, I'm stealing that one. It's tiny. It fits my purpose. So break your rules. Do whatever you want as an artist. Find innovative ways. That's what makes you a trendsetter rather than a trend follower. So what I do is I usually start in the middle, and I do small strokes. Say that when you are building the eyeliner, don't worry about getting it perfect and neat and clean. I'm going to show you how to clean it all up. Just get the makeup on. Does it look right about there? At the brush. Okay, so that's a trick that I use to see exactly what I've done with the eyeliner. It's not the most straight eyeliner. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to sit there and straighten it out because I'm going to show you how to straighten it out afterwards, once I set the eyeliner. Yeah? How'd you get in?
Just recently I got back into it, and then just networking with different people.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing about, like your favorite field? Bridal?
Yes.
You like it?
I do. Surprisingly, I haven't had like a bridezilla.
Oh.
Yeah, I know a lot of people hate it.
I like Bridal because it runs my life. I can pay my bills on it. Go ahead and close your eyes. But yeah, it is very high maintenance work.
Yes.
And this
like
looks.
5 trials for one bride.
You did 5 for one bride?
No, like
Oh.
Sometimes they're crazy and they just want to keep
Sometimes.
paying.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking my black smoky, my black shadow and a flat brush like this, and I'm going right over that. Because the shadow is easier to control, it's easy for me to set that and clean those lines. Now, I've had, Oh, and at the end, what I like to do, I like to smoke that out a little bit. I should stop saying that. I should say buff it out, because my last students kept laughing every time I said that. And this is also my bridal look that I do.
Eyelash from one side is really curly and the other one is flat. Like
Really?
this side is really curly and this side is just like
Mine are really curly. You have dry skin. So what I do is I take their eyes down with my brush, and it just shows me exactly what line I've done. So for the most part, my eyes are done. For the most part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step back, and I'm going to take a good look and see if there's anything else I'd like to do with it. Eyes down. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more dimension to her eye. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of brown and a little bit of black. And if you notice, I'm always getting, I mean, you guys that have worked out there before, you know, you want to get the product off your brush. When people tell me, smoky eye doesn't look good on me, I can never make it work. I'm going to tell you 9 out of 10 times what that issue is. Too much product. You're using too much product on your brush, you're using too much product on your face. That's when the smoky eye doesn't look good. So I always take the product off. It's so much easier to add more product than it is to remove product. My favorite is at the end when they're like, it's too much, can you make it go away a little bit? And I'm like, yes, I will call my magic unicorn to fix your face right now because that's how it works. But I don't say that. I'm like, of course. Yes. Of course we can do that. I always teach my students, for the most part, whatever your client asks, yeah, of course, sure. Just keep saying yes. And then walk them through it. So, for example, anyone that's done Bridal knows how many times that they've been handed a picture of like Kim Kardashian and they were told, can you do it natural like this? I'm like, yes, absolutely. There is so much natural on her face right now. And then I just walk them through it. I'm just like, so what is it about this picture that you like? Do you realize that the eyeliner is really thick? Is that something that you want? Once I walk them through it, they don't want that picture anymore. Not to say that I love her makeup. I love her makeup artist and I love her makeup. But don't ask me for natural and hand me that picture. Usually when a client hands you a picture, there's something they like about that picture and they don't know what it is. But they've handed that to you and they want that And if you give them that, they're not going to like it. And you're like, but I gave you exactly what you wanted. It may be that they just like the lip color, but they didn't really focus on the eyeliner. So I always walk them through it. Go ahead and face forward. So as you see here, I'm just creating a little bit of dimension. Tiny product, not a whole lot. This is pretty much your basic eye that you're going to do for most of your clients. Have you done makeup in the industry before? No? You were nodding like yes, but yes, absolutely. So what I like to do at this point is go in and do a little bit of cleanup. This is why I don't like to put the foundation on first. Just go ahead and put this forward. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a whole bunch of makeup on her cheeks right now. And now that I've worked with her for about 20-30 minutes, I'm getting a feel for her skin. And I know how to set the skin and how to prepare the skin. Just like she said, I have combination skin, and then she thought about it, she's like, oh, but it's dry now. It's not really her responsibility to figure that out. It's my responsibility to figure it out. So taking that 20-30 minutes helps me understand it. So what I like to do is take a little bit of eye makeup remover, do that, and then go right about here, set my sponge down, move that up. Anybody use tape in here? You guys do? The reason why, I mean, you use it for yourself, okay, but the reason why I completely am against using it for a client, first of all, it's unprofessional to put tape on their face. Second, if your client is a mature client and she's using Retin-A, or let's say she's allergic to that tape, once you put that tape on, if she has been using Retin-A, let's say for like 2 years, what do you think is going to happen when you take that tape off? Skin's going to come off with it. And and then try covering that up. Like, no one's going to want to put makeup over that. I tell you these things because I've been through these things. I didn't use the tape, but I waxed the person's face, and I didn't do my pre-consultation and ask her about the Retin-A. She didn't feel it, but I'm standing there in Beverly Hills doing her eyebrows, and I stepped back, and there is just red underneath both her brows, and there's no skin. And I'm just like, it looks really good. It looks amazing. I'm just going to put a little bit of concealer on underneath it just to give you that really clean brow. She never came back to me again. She was the nicest person, too. Never came back to me after that. But do you know the sheer panic inside of my heart when I saw that?
So is there an alternative to tape?
To tape? Who asked that? Yeah, so what I'm doing now. So put that right there. Move it down.
So that's after you
That's it. And I've used something that's for her skin. I've used the sponge. I've used the eye makeup remover, and it's conditioned the skin. Now, if you use it for yourself, I'm no one to tell you how to do your makeup at home. I'm telling you, for the most part, it's probably unprofessional to use it on a client. Okay, so what I'm using is a rose water toner, which is super hydrating. This is how you want to spray your client's face. No matter how you do it, they're not going to like it. So you want to step back, and then on the count of 3, I want you to hold your breath. And then what I do is I start back so that she doesn't actually feel the spray, but she hears it. So she's prepared for it. So, okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's it. Because I don't want her flinching and I don't want her uncomfortable. I want the entire experience to feel good for her. And I'm just going to take a little bit of moisturizer. While that is wet, and if any of you have gone through skin yet, you know that putting a moisturizer over something wet or water is going to go ahead and lock that moisture right in.
What kind of foundation are you using on her?
This foundation, actually, to be honest with you, who asked me that? I had my own makeup company about 3 years ago, and it was called Rain Blush, and I had my foundations. I dropped the company so I can go into education, but I still really love the foundation because it's the smoothest, most full coverage, and then once it dries kind of powdery and silky. You're more than welcome to come over and take a look at it.
Are you selling them?
If I have anything left, yes.
That's kind of a nice change. Everyone that comes here seems to live in Whittier.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to work in Alhambra at Paul Mitchell. And everyone would be like, well, you should come out for drinks tonight. I'm like, nah, no. I live 2 hours away, thank you. Well, no, I live 2 hours away with traffic.
Yeah.
But they were fun. They were a fun bunch there. So there's several different ways to apply foundation. To be honest with you, I change it up a lot to find my favorite. I still haven't actually found my favorite. This one actually isn't too bad. I like the application of this brush. This is a
Real technique.
yeah. Now with this look, once I'm done, she can look in the mirror and tell me if she wants it a little darker. Not a problem. It's so easy to go darker. I just take a darker color, I start at the outer corners, and I work my way in. Good lashes. Okay. So from here, what I like to do is I'm going to let that settle into her skin. I'm going to go in to do her brows. I love doing eyebrows, and I can get lost doing them. Like, I can spend 20 minutes doing it if I'm not watching my time. So what I like to use is typically a taupe liner. Are you guys familiar with the taupe colors?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not just something that they teach you, that's really something that you'll be using. Like, taupe is going to be 9 out of 10 times you're going to be using the taupe. And if you need to go darker from there, you can. With her, I could probably actually go a little darker, but I'm going to show you how I use the taupe and then darken it up. So first thing I always want to do is I want to brush them up. Oh, here's another thing. The reason she keeps turning her face to me is very natural. Most people will. And the reason I come in from here is because I see all new makeup artists do this. This is going to hurt your shoulders. It's going to hurt your back. After a while, standing like this is going to put pressure on your spine. And then at your body's risk, you're going to be making money. So I want to come in from here because I'm closer. I can be right up into her face and I can zero in, especially since I can't see. I lie. I love knock that in. I'm not dragging that across her brow at all. The reason I'm dotting it in is I just want to get the product on there. I'm going to go in and move the product around in a moment. And I'm lucky. She already has pretty brows. I don't need to reconstruct them. I just need to follow them. And then I'm going to go in. This is one of my favorite things to do brows with. It's Max Espresso. It pretty much looks good on everybody. And the way I darken it and lighten it is how much product I'm using. So I've already got the taupe on there. Now I can just go in there and darken that up. So what I want to do, go ahead and close. That line to that line right there, I want to draw two perpendicular lines, bottom and top. And for those of you that are interested in the ombre brow, this is how you do it as well. The top line, you just draw shorter. So you don't bring it all the way to the beginning. You start about, right about here. Go ahead and move forward. Start right about there for the ombre brow. For her, I'm going to do just a regular brow. And don't worry about how messy you are. You're going to clean it. I'm going to fill that in. And I always say, recreate an arch right here. Bring that up. And take it down. It's really subtle, especially for you guys that are sitting in the back. It's super subtle. I'm just building it. Do you have allergies?
No. Just I had the fan on last night. So
Oh.
it drives me out in my sides.
You're so cute. So you see I'm drawing one line here, one line here. And then I bring it over here and recreate that arch. And take that down. Don't worry about getting things perfect and clean. You're gonna go in there, you're going to clean it up anyway. Get the product on there. So with her brows, I can actually afford to go just a little bit darker, but I've got the color on there. So most people that tell me, they're like, I don't know how to do my brows. Every color that I use doesn't look right, it looks too dark. 9 out of 10 times, it's because their eyebrow's gray. It's not black, it's not brown, you have to go for gray liners. With her, it's also gray. So I'm going into this, like, you guys can see that color, but I'm controlling my amount by just putting a little bit on there. Excuse me, I'm controlling my color by putting a little bit on there. I want to also be mindful that she does have this blonde streak up here, and I don't want to go super, super dark with her brow either. See, like, I can actually stand almost behind her and work, and it's easier for me than if I were to stand in her face. One, nobody wants you in their face. Like, it's weird. You're a stranger. Don't be in people's faces. Two, it's awkward and uncomfortable for me as well. And this is so much easier because I can be right up in here. I can stand right here. Sorry, I'm standing in front of you guys for just a second. You do want to, every once in a while, get in front of them and see what you've done. Okay, so what I can do now is go in, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this, where you go in with the concealer and clean that up. So I'm going to go with something that's a tad bit lighter than her. Usually I would go in for a yellow, but she's got pretty fair skin. I can go in with the peach. Also, when I'm done with this part. Start right there. Clean up your mess. So, I really encourage you guys to try to separate from what I call the Instagram brow. There's nothing wrong with it. It's super pretty. It's not really practical. The Instagram brow, you guys haven't seen it, where it's just this like really crafted brow, and underneath it there's like a line of like white almost, or concealer. I'm putting right about there. So I'm putting this underneath there, but I'm blending it out. That's the only difference between what I'm doing and what they've done. And what it does is just clean. It highlights the top of the brow, and it's creating this like really clean, sharp look. And then also, I can go in with my other brush and erase those lines. One thing I encourage, if you're having a hard time with your brush, is go ahead, I'm not ambidextrous, so when I'm working on the other side of her face, it's going to be very difficult for me. Go ahead and turn your brush upside down. So I can just do this. Using the concealer also helps if you're not, if your client hasn't done her, she has, but if your client has like really messy brows that she hasn't done, it kind of helps conceal some of that, especially if you're doing a photo shoot. They can go in and clean that up also later. But you've kind of given them the groundwork for it. I'm just going to go in and do just a really light cheek, and I'm going to show you a quick contour technique. So for her, I'm probably just going to go with this color. It's a very like muted rose. Go and smile. Do you guys know why we use blush on our cheeks? I said yes.
It's more natural.
It's to take it back. If you ever looked at a baby, their cheeks are blushing and their face is juicy and soft. And that's really what we're doing. We're just going right back to that youth. Blush makes you look young. So with the 5-minute face that I teach, like if you're going to work and you don't want to do your full face of makeup, I always teach throw on some lipstick, throw on some blush, even on bare skin, and you'll look healthier. So that no one's like, "What's wrong? Are you sick today?" Because that's always fun when someone says that to you. So I'm going to do some individuals on her because this is what most people are going to want. I love strip lashes, but most people are going to want individuals. So for her, I can throw on some mediums. So I'm just going to put that right there. Super simple. Grab all the lashes, every single hair with your tweezer, and pull it up. If you don't grab every single hair, you're going to end up grabbing one, and you lose that lash. It becomes wiry. I put it down on my hand, grab the end of it, like this. Now, I don't dip it into the glue, because what happens when you dip it into the glue, because it's a latex, it creates a ball at the end. What I do is I like sweep it right underneath into a line, because I'd rather have a line effect on there than a little ball. This. I just want to lay it right on top. Is this the curly side?
No, that's the more straight.
This is the straight side?
Yeah. This is really curly.
That's going to be fun when I get to
That's going to be a challenge. So you think these are more easier to use?
Yes. I dropped it on you. No, she asked me, are these easier than the strips? Not necessarily. For me, I mean, for you, you might find your comfort level with one more than the other.
I think they look more natural to me.
Definitely.
Like they don't look like so. Oh my god.
Definitely.
Eyelash.
And that's where most people are like, I got my makeup done and I hated it. Because someone put spiders on their eyes. I like spiders on my eyes. I'll wear dry clean makeup. I don't care. I'll go out like that. But most people don't. Also, eyeliner affects it a lot. It's just after years of working, I've just figured out what they're saying and what they're really meaning. When people go, I want natural, what they mean is soft. They don't necessarily want natural. They just want a softer look. And what is soft? Soft is just blended. That's all it is. And I train actual artists too. And it's amazing how many artists I find that don't blend their work. If your work is not blending, 2 issues. 1, you didn't prime the skin properly, and 2, you're using too much product. And because she's got these beautiful full lashes, I don't need to do a whole bunch. It's not, your makeup application is not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with people. Go about it as you feel, as you see fit. One thing I also have my students do, I do a 45-minute makeup and I time you. And I give you a certain amount of time for each thing, and you already know what you're going to do. It's 9 parts. I write the 9 parts on the board, and I hit the clock. And you go, and then you stop. So whatever, if you got both eyeliner on, fantastic. If you didn't, you stop. You go on to the next thing. At the end of the exercise, I give you 6 minutes to go back and finish what you didn't do. The object of the exercise isn't to do the perfect face, is to test yourself to see in 45 minutes, because that's what you're being given most of the time to do makeup. Am I going to make this face presentable to whoever is paying me, whether it's her or another boss? If not, then you just go back and you and you see where you were fast and where you were slow. That's what you want to work on. So the object of the exercise is just to find out where your strengths are and where your challenges are. And it's a really fun exercise. A lot of panicking. But what I like is it stops people from going in and doing the shaky hand where they're just kind of slowly putting on the liner. I mean, you go in there and you line her eyes. Like, you go fast. Yeah, I haven't done her lipstick yet, and usually what I do is I give the client the mirror, and then I ask them, well, what kind of lipstick would you like at that point? Because that's totally the client's choice. Lipstick is really, it's really personal for people. Like, it's amazing. I spent one time 35 minutes changing this girl's lip color. She was a bride. So, the reason I do this, I don't like sharp tips when I do the lip liner, because what happens is it'll break off, and then it'll fall on her lip, and now I'm panicking trying to get it off her lip. I used to have a really hard time doing that. Going back to the academy, what we teach you there. And with this eye, you can do any lip color. Okay, so same thing with the brows. You can go in with your brush. I'm actually going to use a lip brush this time. Like I said, you use whatever you want to use for whatever you feel like will fit. You can just clean up. Also, what I want to do is do a light color right there, right on the Cupid's bow. What that does, it plumps the lip upwards.
Colors?
You want more? No, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my brush. And notice I never really go in like this with my brush. I coat the ends of my brush. I'm going to go right there. That creates continuity. It personalizes the look and creates continuity in the makeup.
Where are you applying it?
Right under the brow bone, basically like right here underneath her brow bone, and I'm taking up just a bit and bringing it out. And what that does, it makes them look in the mirror and go, oh my God. Like, they don't really know why they like it, but there's just this continuity that you've created in the face. And everything matches. That's really important. How many times have you guys watched a movie or a TV show where the girl has like I don't know, brown kinds of eyeshadows and then like an orange lip, but the brown has like maybe some pink in it as well, and it's just not, and you're like, why does this person look like this? It's the continuity. They haven't matched. Okay, go ahead and turn this way. What I like to do is flip my hand upside down, start at her ear, work my way down. This is not like, this is basically if you don't really have a whole lot of time and you have like that 45 minutes that you need to do with the person and you don't have time to go in with the cream contour and then the powder contour. If you do have time for that, fantastic, then do that. And then with the same brush, you go right here and kind of do this, I call it the rainbow. I go all across. And then right here. Oh, it tickles?
Oh, I see somebody else doing it. I don't know, that's why I'm just
I know, I haven't had my makeup done in maybe 6 years. And that's really it.
thank you.
The whole contour. I'm not in love with my blending.
Just turn your face forward, okay? Sorry.
It's okay. I took the blush off of this. I'm just gonna go in and blend. Fast strokes. It tickles them, and it feels a little silly, but it's so much better than if I were to. How annoying is that? And I've seen people do that, and they're just like, and for the most part, that's a lack of self-confidence. Like, go in. I was training a facial one time, and I felt so bad for the guy that was our client, because the girl, she was just like so afraid to touch him, and then finally I lost it. I was like, okay, get up. She moved. I grabbed his face. I'm like, you grab the face, and you get in there, okay, and you cleanse it. And he literally said, professional. Those were the words that came out of his mouth, because he was like, it's like getting a massage and someone's doing this on you.
Yeah.
No, get in there and touch the person with confidence. And that's pretty much the face, and that's the lashes. If any of you want to come up and... Oh, thank you. and that's your basic face. Now, if from here she wanted to go a little darker, she can tell me, make the shadow darker, make the lip... you can play with it at this point. But that's really what 9 out of my 10 brides look like that. And even maybe a little bit less, and not the dark lip. So, any questions? Like, for example, if you're working with someone that's not in love with their nose, and they feel like their nose is too big, what you want to do is you want to go in there and you want to create shadowing on the side, and then highlighting on the front, and you start to craft the nose.
What if they have a small nose?
So then what you would do is you would take the, the white that goes, or the light color that goes in the front, you would do that a little wider. So that actually brings the nose out, and then you don't use the... I know, very few people, I actually had one client that wanted me to make her nose look a little bigger, and that was that. Yeah, because she was an Asian client, and her nose was so tiny, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever, but she was like, I want more of a pronounced nose. So I did that for her.
How do we find you? Information?
Yes, I'm going to have you guys sign up your names if you're interested in some information on the
Okay,
academy.
students, here is her information. 818-402-6242 is her phone number, Sahar. FaceMakeupAcademy.com is the website. And then Instagram is Sassy Sass Makeup. So you can find her. She has classes. Call her.